This is Gemara Baba Basra Daf Ayin Vav, and all the learning this month. The month of Elul has been generously sponsored by a close friend of the Daf as a Schos Aliyas Neshama for Esther, Rizal, Basra, מאיר, B'siyat Dishmaya. The learning of the entire Chabura should bring Esther, Rizal, Basra, מאיר to a higher and higher place in Gan Eden Shel Maila. We're holding on Ayin Hea Midbeis, and after a bit of a Haggadah interlude, we move back into the dinim of our Mishnah, which is when one sells a boat, what is included in that sale? About 14 lines from the bottom, after the two dots, itmar, svina. How do you acquire a boat? Rav Amar Kim Shamash Kol Kana, Shmuel Amar, Loikana and Shimshach Kula. Amachlaikas Rav and Shmuel, how much of a meshicha of pulling the boat is necessary to affect the kinyan? Says Rav, even a Mashicha Koldu. Says Shmuel, no, you have to be Meshich, you have to pull it in its entirety. Says the Gemara, Lema Kitanai. Maybe this machlekes is really a prior machlekes Tanoim. As we find in a Brisa, based off of a Mishnah in Kedushin, says the Brisa, Ketzad b'Mesira. How do you acquire an animal with Mesira, giving over the reins? Achsa b'Talfa. You grab its hoof, b'Saira, its hair, bo'oikev sha'aleha, the saddle on the animal, b'Shliv sha'aleha, the load on the animal, b'Prumbia she'v'b'ia, the bit in its mouth, b'Zug she'b'Savara, the bell on its neck. Kana, that is an act of acquisition on the animal. Explains the Brisa Ketzad b'Meshicha. How do you acquire an animal with pulling it? Kairala, you call it, v'ibane comes. Or shekisha b'makal, you do it with a stick. V'ratza lefaneh, you run. V'ratza lefaneh, and it runs before you. Kiva nisha'akra yad v'regel kana. Once the animal picks up an arm and its leg, there is a kinyan. Rabbi Achi, Ramla Ravacha Omer, no. Till it walks the full height of the animal. So says the Gemara, this machlekes Ravachi, this machlekes Tanakama, and Ravachi is maybe our machlekes. Lema Rav Damar Tanakama, then Mashicha Koldu. Similar to being Akra Yad V'Regel, and Ushmuel Damar Kravachal. And Shmuel is going to hold like Ravach. It has to move its entirety. Therefore, you have to Mashiach on the whole boat. Rav says, Rav, no. I can even hold like Ravach. When did Ravach say his din that picking up the animal has to move its entire body is by a living entity? When an animal picks up a leg and foot, it's still in its same place. But says Rav, Avalsfina, it's not true. Kivan did Nadaba Porta, once the boat moves a little bit, the whole boat has moved. It's true the back is now a little bit where the prior part of the boat was, but the entire boat moved. Nadala Kula. The entire boat moved. Shmuel Amar, 4 lines to the bottom of the Amri, I could hold Afilu Kitanakama. Kano Kamar Tanakama, when did Tanakama say it in? Ella Bibali Chayim, that moving a little bit could affect the Kinyan. Demi Ikra Yad Viregel. What's the reason, says Shmuel? Because Kivan Demi Ikara Yad Viregel, once it lifts up a leg and an arm, Idach Lemeikar Kaima. The other one is going to follow suit. It's starting to walk. What says Shmuel? That's by an animal. Avosfina, when it comes to a boat. Imashach lakula in. Iloi. There's no life that's forcing it to continue moving. Therefore, there's only a kinyan, says Shmuel. If you pull the whole boat, it says the Gemara, the machlekes Rav and Shmuel is not the machlekes Tanoim of Tanakama and Rav Acha. Suggests the Gemara, okay, so maybe Lemakani Tanoi. Maybe it's the following Tanoim. The Tanoim learned to the Brisa. Svina Nigdis B'Mashicha, you acquire a boat with pulling it. Rav Nosson Amar Sfina voices Negnas b'Mashicha. Tanakama says a boat you do Mashiach on it. Rav Nosson says a boat or an icy ice. What does that mean? As the Rashbam over here points out, 5 lines to the bottom of Shtar Chayv, that one is acquiring is as well Niknois b'Mashicha. So what's this machlekes Tanakama and Rav Nosson as we turn over to Ayin Vav Amid Beis? Says the Gemara, Ukshtar Ubishtar, as well as shtar is acquired in a similar mannerism. Says the Gemara, what's going on over here? What did Rav Nosson mean when he mentioned letters? So explains the Gemara, a boat is acquired b'Mashicha. A boat is acquired by pulling the boat. The icy ice b'Masira. And when it comes to icy ice, when it comes to a shtar, that's a Masira by handing it over. That's what the Tanakam holds. Nosson Aimer Sfina v'Icy ice. Niknis b'Mashicha. Both of them are kind of b'Mashicha u'b'shtar. Or you could be kind of by writing a shtar that you acquire the boat or the shtar. Says the Gemara, what does that mean? Shtar lisfina lamali. Why are you writing a shtar to be kind of the boat? Mitaltalihi. The boat is mitaltalin, so you can just pull the boat. What did Rav Nosson mean when he said that you also are writing a shtar for the boat? So says the Gemara, and with this we're going to see how this could bring us back to the machlekes Rav and Shmuel. This is what Rav Nosson meant. Sfina nignis b'Mashicha. Tanakam. Voices b'Masira. Rav Nosson Aimer Sfina b'Mashicha v'Icy ice. And you want to cut out shtar b'shtar. Sfina b'Mashicha no Tanakama. So says the Gemara, 1 second. Based on the way we just explained the Tanakama and Rav Nosson is saying the exact same thing as the Tanakama. Then he's saying that a Sfina is kind of b'Mashicha. So what is the difference between the Tanakama and Rav Nosson? So says the Gemara, wait, Ela de Rav u'Shmuel ikabeinayu. Maybe the difference between Tanakama and Rav Nosson is Rav and Shmuel. The machlekes being whether you have to do a Mashiach koldu or whether you have to pull the whole thing. Answers the Gemara, Lai. The Kuli Alma, everyone holds Ikaravi Kishmuel. Whether they hold like Rav and Shmuel, you have to pull the full boat or not. Tanakama and Rav Nosson, that's not their machlekes. Ubesvina Kuli Alma like Pligi. Keep Pligi ba'Isis. The machlekes is how are you kinda a shtar. V'hachi kamar le Rav Nosson or Tanakama. This is what Rav Nosson was responding to the Tanakama. Bisvina says Rav Nosson v'adimutinu l'cha. I'm asking that to require a boat. How are you kind it with Mashiach? But says Rav Nosson 8 lines to the bottom of Ayin Vavam and Aleph. When you want to be kind of icy ice a shtar, Yika shtar in Eloi. If there's a shtar, then yes. But if not, you cannot be kind of shtar just by Mashiach. Now, once we've settled what the machlekes Rav Nosson and Tanakama is, not the same machlekes in Rav Shmuel, says the Gemara, look to Dani Tanoi. This machlekes Tanakama and Rav Nosson is the following machlekes to Tanya. Icy ice niknes b'Masira. Says the Gemara, icy ice are kind of b'Masira by giving it over to the Rebbe, like the Tanakama. Whether you wrote it and you didn't give it over, whether you didn't give it over and you didn't write it, there's no kenyan ad sheyechtav till you write v'yimsar and you give it over. That's the only way to affect a kenyan on a shtar. Says the Gemara, 1 second, but my ukipta kirabi. How are you telling me it's like Rabbi Sfina Nami Tekni b'Masira? Then Tanakama should also have a kinyan b'Masira. Titanya Sfina Niknis b'Masira Divi Rabbi Chamar Laikana until what? Say the Chachamim as we turn over to Ayin Vav and base. Say the Chachamim when it comes to a boat, You're not koina only with mir Mesira, but rather what do you have to do? Say the Chachamim, add on the top line of Ayin Vav Beis, Sheyim Shachanu, until you pull it. Ayachi Yischar's Mekamo, till you rent the place. So says the Gemara, what do we see? We see that Rebbe holds your kind of the boat with Mesira, just handing it over, whereas the Tanakama says, no, you have to actually do Meshicha. So how are we saying that Rebbe and the Tanakama are one and the same? Says the Gemara, like Kasha, Kan Bershus Harabim, Kan Bisimta. The second brayso, when we said it can be kind of Mesira, that's in Rishus Harabim. That's when just handing over the reins of the boat, the handing over the boat Kavakinyan. Kan Bisimta, whereas the Tanakama says you need to do Mashicha, is in a Simta, which is not the same level of public as a Rishram, more of a side area. Says the Gemara, 1 second. You're telling me that this Bryce that says that you're kind of the boat with Mesira. Is it Shasarabim? He must say, let's look at the end of the Bryce of a Chacham, but wait, Shasarabim. And then how? According to the Chachamim, 1 second, if it's Shasarabim, said like till you pull it, or what did the top line of this Amud say? Yischar es mikaimar. How can you rent Rosh Hashanah? Number one. Are you able to do Mashicha? Can you affect a kinyan by pulling something through Rosh Hashanah? But we're going to see in a few days about Rav Adami Dervayu. Mesira is kind of Rosh Hashanah, but Mashiachas can only be simta b'chatzi shel shneihem, not in Rosh Hashanah. V'agvana kind of b'chol makayim. So ask the Gemara, if it's a Rosh Hashanah, how's the basel number one to rent a place, and number two, how can you do Mashiach? Responds the Gemara, smack in the middle of the Amid Ayin Vav and the base. First word on the line is ad. My ad sheim shachanu. What does it mean till you do Mashiach? Nami dekamar. Nami dekamar. Means you have to do both. This is what it means. You do a Mashicha. And now we add in, if it's in Rosh Hashanah, then you're going to have to rent the place. So the Gemara says that's how we can reconcile that the price. It could be Rabbi number one, and that's how we can explain how Mashicha or renting the place is Shaykh and Rosh Hashanah. It's not really Rosh Hashanah. It's either from Rosh Hashanah to the Simta you pull it, or if it's in the Bailim, that's when you are renting it. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Maybe Abaye and Rabba, it comes out that both prices are Rabbi, that you could do Mesira. Says the Gemara, so it comes out Abaye and Rabba, both hold like Rabbi, Amar Avashi. Then you're right. Hachanami, that's how you make a kini. That's the machlaik as Abaye and Rava. Mar Savar, in that case, the Chum hold Kveda. He's being makbid. That he has to do with a Mashiach. Mar Savar, as Rebbe holds, no. Mar Makim Ulo, you just give him an idea how to be in Kainet, but Avada will work in other ways. Stop over here. We'll pick it up from Rapapa, B'siyata Dishmai.